I'm going to show you how to make the perfect chicken wings. Besides making the perfect chicken wings, I'm also going to show you a hot chili oil chicken wing version and a Parmesan garlic crusted version of chicken wings. Stick around.
Big thanks to Napoleon Grills for sponsoring this episode.
Of course, it all starts with a good wing. Now, this is what you might recognize as a full wing. There's supposed to be still a tip on the edge. This full wing is no good if you want to make the perfect chicken wings. Because if you eat this and you have this tendon right here, this floppy bit, it's not going to be very enjoyable. And that's why I prefer to split them up into these little drumettes, and these is where the money's at. This is the golden part of the chicken wing. It is the only part you're going to use if you want to make the perfect chicken wings. I'm going to place these wings and spread them out over a wired rack. That's going to allow me to air dry them. This is the main thing. The air dry is the first part of the secrets of cooking a perfect chicken wing. Once you got them all laid out, you're going to leave them on the countertop while we fire up the barbecue. And the good part is you're not going to need an expensive smoker. You can just use your regular kettle grill to make the perfect chicken wings. The downside is that you have to use a specific technique to make them as good as they can be. I'm going to put in some charcoal, place it in the fire starter, light it up, and once it's lit, I'm going to add a small chunk of smoke wood. Now with that smallest fire that you can have, you're going to get a nice low controllable temperatures. And that is the time we're going to put the chicken wings in. Ready for the first phase of the cook. Close the lid, open the top vent all the way, close the bottom vent almost all the way, and I want temperatures in my barbecue as low as 90 degrees Celsius. Because this phase of the cook is drying the chicken wings. Because if you want crispy, you need that skin to be as dry as possible. And that's why there's no seasoning yet. Because if you would season it, you would draw out moisture from the meat onto the skin. And that's not what I want. I want that skin dried by the warm air inside the barbecue and of course a little bit of smoke for flavor. This phase of the cook is going to take about 30 minutes to get that skin nice and dry. It is time to check on our wings, and look at that. Look, this is what I'm talking about. You see how dry that is? How that skin turned into parchment? So now I'm just gonna place this on the countertop, leave it to cool again a little bit. And in the meantime, I'm going to add more charcoal to the grill because now we're going to need a high temperature. And since I'm going to be using a high temperature, I'm also going to use a heat barrier to stop the radiation heat from heating up the chicken wings. Now the grill grates are back in, and since I'm using the Napoleon grill, you got different levels of putting the grill grates in. Let me show you. So you can just lower these all the way down, but I like to keep them at the top because I want high temperatures. Top of the grill, we got the highest temperatures of the grill. We got nice hot air moving around real fast, and that is convection heat. That is better than radiation heat for our chicken wings. Now we'll get to the part where I can season the chicken wings, but since they're dried up on the outside, it's impossible to get seasoning to stick to the chicken wings. So I'm going to take a little bit of peanut oil, rub that onto the chicken wings, and that oil at higher temperatures is going to fry the outside of our chicken wings. All it needs now is the seasoning, and I'm using the Pitmaster's Tweety seasoning. And of course, Tweety seasoning is perfect for chicken. If you rather use the regular chicken seasoning, that is a great option too. If you don't have the Pitmaster's seasoning yet, check out our website. The link is down below. I'm just going to season it by sight. So what I want is it to connect, and I want every part to be covered, but not too heavily. The Pitmaster's seasoning is quite powerful, so I don't want to over season the wings. That is one beautiful looking wing. This is the first part of the seasoning. Now I'm going to place them back on the rack. We got some oil on it, we got some seasoning on it, and now we have to take care of the looks of the seasoning. So what I want to do is I want to take my chickens, and to get the look to be on point, I'm just going to finish off with another thin layer of seasoning just for the looks, with a little bit of texture on the outside. That's going to make it absolutely perfect. So we did two stages. We first dried the outside of the chicken and smoked it for flavor. The second is that we seasoned the chicken. These now go back on the barbecue. I'm going to open up the top vent all the way, Open up the bottom vent all the way, and I'm going to blast these chicken wings with extreme heat from the barbecue. I'm not grilling them, I'm talking about pure convection heat, as high as I can get them, to cook them, make them even more crispy and extremely juicy and tender. We're about 5 minutes in and I can see the first results popping up. The skin is drying out, but more importantly, the fat underneath the skin is rendering out. So it's basically just, you can hear the sizzle. That is the fat dripping into the fire, into the barbecue. That fat melting is the best thing ever, because that is going to make a juicy chicken wing. Now I need that chicken wing to become even more crispy, and I want to make sure that it cooks evenly, because this is the hot side of the grill where the fire is, and the other side is a little cooler. So I'm going to rotate this every 5 minutes to make sure that I get the perfect crispy chicken wings. In the end, I'm going to tell you the time it took me to cook these chicken wings, but more importantly, I'm going to show you what to look for so you can know when your chicken wings are done. So it took 20 minutes to finish the cook of the chicken wings. Now let me show you how you can see when the chicken wings are cooked to perfection. First of all, you want that nice crispy exterior. Second of all, you want the skin to be loose in contact from the meat. Third of all, you want the bones to start popping. Not be popping all the way, but start popping. And you want to see the juices bubble up underneath the skin. Another thing that is important to detect if the chicken is actually done is that you can umbrella it off the bone. Which means you're going to take the wing and then with the blunt part pointing towards the top, and then with the nails pushing it down, and this is going to be extremely hot for me, so if I pull a funny face it's because it's still hot. And then push it down off the bone, and it's still hot. But if you wait about 5 minutes, it's not going to be that hot anymore. But what I'm looking for is that clean pull off the bone. That is important. We'll pick back up on that later. Because now you have a choice. Do you want to go dry and naked, or do you want to go all in and put on another coat of flavor? First one is some burning hot butter. To that, add some garlic, parsley. I'm going to take half of the wings, put them in a bowl, put some of that garlic parsley butter on, add some grated Parmesan cheese. Don't use the dry stuff, but make sure you got the fresh kind. And then start mixing it up, giving you the most delicious Parmesan crusted chicken wings. Just look at that beauty. Another option is to mix some chili oil, about a tablespoon, honey, about half a cup. Put the rest of the chicken wings inside a bowl, and then pour that chili honey on top of those chicken wings, letting it melt in the process. Make sure each wing gets a little bit of that honey. It's going to give it a beautiful shine and a nice cheeky hot flavor. All right, let's do that pop once again. There we go, the umbrella, chicken umbrella, cooked to perfection like that, clean off the bone. Now let's do the same with the Parmesan. Clean off the bone again. Oh. And it's not like one of these flavors is better than the other. It's just completely different. So make your own. Recipes, of course, are on our website. Go check them out. See you guys in the next one. Cheers.